My chief architect is a military grade security engineer, and the issue of cybersecurity and privacy and safe social media is really essential if you're going to launch any consumer facing service. And I think that, it'd be interesting to explore what you're doing specifically, because we are spending a lot of time on that aspect, and of the platform, which is a key differentiator on many levels. And I want to add this to your comment, that I think media and entertainment, which is where I am, is definitely a supply issue issue that definitely needs digital transformation. The business model is failing, user experience is lacking, and certainly harnessing the power of, the mobile infrastructure and new cloud microservices that are more intelligent. It's just a really huge shift that's got to take place over the next 5 years.
As peers were coming to us in the last 5-6 years, they wanted to generate revenue, either internally or externally, by getting funding or investments. And I asked, well, what are you going to do with the money with that? 50, 60, 70% was going to go to marketing, and probably about 20-30 to administrative expenses, maybe another 10 or 20 for development, something along those numbers. So those are the three top things. And I thought there must be a way that we could help support them, be able to really expand their business a lot more. And so we came up with what we call CoVentures, a way that we can actually do business. It's another word for joint venture with other peers. And we created a space that we call, the world of CoVentures, or CoVentures.World, where we have a variety of co-venture partners. We're adding more and more. We've got up to 27 now. Our thought is that we could expand beyond that quite a bit, especially as we start to develop groups, co-venture groups in different areas. I've got 3 developing here in the US, 1 in Malaysia, and we're talking about Africa as well, which would be interesting. And then we'll hit some of the other areas like Europe and Latin America. Some of our co-venture partners, Blackbird Global, is in 4 continents, nonprofit. They're talking about billion-dollar initiatives that have stepped in big healthcare space. Governments are stepping into that. Out of that, we created a cybersecurity academy, which, Steve, might be interesting for you as well too, because we're able to create modules, training modules. Right now they're in English. They're going to be translated into different languages shortly. The opportunities that people can join in and be more proactive, because every business, every government, every enterprise is going to be affected with that. The primary ones seem to be education systems, government, and medical. And from what I understand, medical is lagging behind and investing in that. We have our Peers on Demand. We have sessions on a daily basis. Each workday, we're focused with healthcare, with ECHO, with assessments for mental and emotional, also insurance. And here's what's interesting with entrepreneurs here at university, with over many modules, 600 modules of training, multiple courses, the ability with entrepreneurs to tap into CEOs and be able to work with them. Phenomenal opportunity. And Bob Norton is here. You can talk to him a little bit more when he says more. We're working from an e-commerce standpoint with Inspire.World to expand. Right now, they're in 4 countries, US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and we're helping them to expand even more. Continuum is interesting. That is, especially for this group with artificial intelligence and blockchain, they do focus. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm friends with Katrina.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Then you do. Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful space. Maybe you could say more about that. And she has a session tonight every Wednesday. She has some interesting spaces coming up, showcases. So certainly my invitation is that you might consider joining the Continuum World as well too.
Well, she's been trying. That's okay. Yeah.
So, and also from a government standpoint, one of our CoVenture Partners is working with that for surplus equipment. Also in the wealth transfer from the boomer generation to the next generation, somebody's getting $1 to 2 to 3. I think they said like $6 to 10 trillion wealth transfer, and boy, it's probably going to be interesting how that happens. World is in Asia, Southeast Asia, with a quarter of not just Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, of course, South Korea. So we want to open up those spaces. China, probably not. So, and also we have some areas that perhaps are more philanthropic. And our focus is, what if we bring together co-venture partners that are decision makers, that can interact, mastermind, and have multiple points of projects or challenges or opportunities, and they could tap into multiple points of co-ventures throughout the world. So I'm looking for more co-ventures. I'm looking for more partners. I'm looking for people that could run some of these sessions. Now, Steve, let's hear from you. You've come off a windfall with a lot of people were calling you about cybersecurity. And somebody, I guess, picked up a USB and brought it in, and now everybody wants to be protected. I think that was the legal profession. You had mentioned that, but boy, I think everybody else can use it. Can you say more about what are the big ideas in your business, and maybe the opportunities that you have in the next 6 to 12 months, and what is the biggest challenge that you're facing along these lines, Steve?
Well, first of all, the initial thing that's done for the end user is we've changed the antivirus software for them. And this is and for an organization, it's not that cost, but it's substantially more than the run-of-the-mill antivirus. So we use, for example, Sentinel-1, which is the best, but it costs 2 to 3 times more than the existing. And the reason we use that, it's proactive in the sense that it will stop ransomware attacks. And so any machine with that on there, it will not. The way it does it, from a very brief technical point of view, is that whenever a cyber attack occurs for ransomware, meaning they're going to do the encryption, it does a system call into the operating system. It will block that system call, and it will interrogate that to just determine what program it's coming from. It's very intelligent. If it doesn't come from one of the programs that was originally installed on the particular workstation PC, it will stop that, and it will not allow it to proliferate. That's the first thing. The second thing that became really a major issue is we now know how vulnerable all these systems really are. I personally didn't know that there were backdoors to VMware, for example. There's backdoors. Of course, we know there's backdoors from Microsoft and some of the storage appliances. And we did not know that those existed. And so because of that, that proliferated us into utilizing immutable backups. So this is backup mainly, use it in the cloud. So the problem is, you go, well, why don't you use it on the local device? Well, the problem is if you reset the local device and remove everything, it doesn't do you any good if you on the local device. So now we've been implementing, I've done like last month or so, over 6 of them. And we're doing immutable backups to the cloud. So in cybersecurity, that's it. Training is key. I will tell you that we have trained almost every, at least from the director's point of view, for them to proliferate it down, to train the end user not to engage in things they don't understand. In other words, they go to a website or they get a phishing email, not to open it at all. So that training has really paid off and has stopped the potential of ransomware attacks. From this point of view, I think every organization should do a security audit. I know everything's cost basis, but it's imperative. I will say the last comment about the last client, if it wasn't for the cloud backup, they'd probably be out of business or pretty close.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, you're obviously addressing the point of actually doing the remediation once the client accepted. The challenge that one of our peers is having that has focusing on the medical institutions and also orthopedic practices, even though they're clients, they refuse to do that audit. They refuse to step into it. And the percentages, I was told 3 to 4% of their gross revenue that they invest in cybersecurity is way less than the industry standard, which might be 6 or 7% or whatever the case might be. So there's a twofold space. One is they don't think it's a major issue right now. Number one. Number two, they're not investing time and money enough on that. And number three, they're waiting for the effects, the disruption that happens, even if insurance pays for that, even if they pay for it. And I am told that they get, in fact, most or all of them have been hacked to the tune of $4 to $5 million each. And apparently they pay it because they are wealthy and they want to stay in business because they have patience. But the third aspect, the disruption, however long that takes, I don't know if it's a day, a week, whatever long that takes, but the disruption is to the staff. The CEO is let go within 6 to 12 months. There's a staff transition. So there's a lot of different things. So, Steve, I'm thinking that the biggest challenge is just getting the client. What is your biggest challenge in your business, would you say, to be able to address all of this?
Well, it's not that you're doing fear selling, but basically what you're saying is true, is convincing them that they need this and they don't see any benefit. There's no return on investment. However, if you're going to start somewhere, you better start at the end user. And the other way, if they don't do that, you just got to lock the system out, meaning lock it from the outside. And the way that works is if you lock the end user so that they can't click on anything using like Sentinel-1 or something like that, where it won't, you're doing a good job as far as preventing it from happening. Second of all, from the infrastructure point of view, you don't have any open ports or connections to the outside unless it's sitting into some demilitarized zone. So there's actually an architectural change that usually is made. All the new routers that are used in all these organizations, they all have scanning and built into them as a service. So they're supposed to scan for all that. So they're supposed to even stop it before it even enters the organization. Those are the things I focus on that are most cost effective.
Yeah, well, I certainly welcome you to put whatever information you like on the chat box for people to get to know you. But let me open it up to see if Bob or Christian or Susan have any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback for Stephen Henry. Anybody?
I have my chief architect is a military grade security engineer, and the issue of cybersecurity and privacy and safe social media is really essential if you're going to launch any consumer facing service. And I think that, it'd be interesting to explore what you're doing specifically, because we are spending a lot of time on that aspect and of the platform, which is a key differentiator on many levels. And I want to add this to your comment that I think media and entertainment, which is where I am, is definitely a supply issue issue that definitely needs digital transformation. The business model is failing, user experience is lacking, and certainly harnessing the power of the mobile infrastructure and new cloud microservices that are more intelligent. It's just a really huge shift that's got to take place over the next 5 years. So it's a space that I've been in for 30 years. And I feel like I've been through all the slings and arrows on an operations level at large companies. And so I went off 3 years ago to pioneer what's next. And I think we have a next generation platform. And I just want to just say solidly, I think the cybersecurity is a big component of that for sure.
Wow. Thanks for that, Susan. I appreciate it. And Steve, I appreciate it. Let's hear from Bob Norton. Bob Norton has had 6 companies. He has two of them now, but those companies that he sold was upwards of 1 billion, I think, combined, Bob. He has a CEO boot camp. He has over 600 modules of training with multiple courses. And he's looking for partners in CoVenture. So, Bob, I wonder if you could say more about.
We're trying to create the first gold standard for leadership operating systems. This is, probably for only the top 10% of companies that are venture capital worthy, which means they have a $1 billion total market opportunity, or TAM, and they also have sustainable competitive advantage, which means both a secret sauce and the protectability of that secret sauce. Those are the only companies that can attract capital, because those are the only companies that can provide a sufficient ROI on investment to withstand the high risk ratio of early ventures. So we try to come in between 1 million and 30 million and inject all of the systems. Jim Collins, author of Good to Great, says it takes 8 to 10 years for the average company to figure out its internal systems. And our value proposition is we drop in pre-built systems and then tune them for that company in a 1-year process that's a combination of training, coaching, and consulting. And we're the only company in the world that's making a guarantee to add $10 million to the company's valuation, as well as provide a 50x ROI on their investment in us. So we're groundbreaking. We're still unknown, and we're building a network of referral partners and trying to certify about 5 new airtight growth consultants to use our vast amount of IP every quarter to reach 75 simultaneous clients. Around a year from now would be our target, but that'll depend on the economy and how good our marketing is, and we tune in, because we're trying about 20 different strategies for marketing. But we think a lot of our clients will come from referral partners working with lawyers and accountants and fractional CXOs, because we'll need to bring those into our clients as well. So there's a mutual referral relationship there. And we have no competitors globally that can either do what we do or makes any guarantee. So, we're very well differentiated and protected with 30 years worth of experience and 10 years worth of IP development.
What's the challenge to getting to that growth a year from now with 75 clients, Bob?
Well, it's probably more marketing and sales and building the brand, because that's always an expensive proposition to sort of get well known. It's more sales, in the trenches sales, than it is marketing. We're not going to advertise. We're too exclusive for that, and too small a percentage of the companies. People don't realize that only 1 in 6,300 companies actually makes it to 100 million in sales, which I did twice in a row with my own startups as a serial entrepreneur. And only 1 in 400 companies reaches even 10 million in sales. And the research shows, and people have known for 40 years, that that's about growing your managers and hiring managers, because the limit on growth isn't sales and marketing. Usually it's the managers and the infrastructure and being able to handle the volume. Lots of companies blow themselves up by having too much sales and not enough infrastructure and management and leadership and operations. I could tell you 100 stories about that kind of scenario. So 99.25% of companies need what we have, but because we take a slice of equity, 1 to 3% stock options, we only want to, like a venture capitalist, we only want to work with the ones that have flushed out some of the risk and have a market a value proposition that's worked, or working MVP, or product market fit, as most people call it. So we're going to parachute in, help them for a year, earn a small slice of that company. So in that sense, we're like a venture capitalist, but instead of investing cash, we're investing our time and our intellectual property in the business.
Artificial intelligence and blockchain, and certainly wanted to do more along those lines. Tomorrow we'll have it for presidents of organizations. Those of your clients, Bob, that are looking for at least opportunities, they come in different sizes. And on Friday, we'll have it for nonprofits. So the opportunities that you could join any of these events, you can certainly join our community, peersondemand.com, and connect with other leaders, most of them in North America, US and Canada, but the opportunities, of course, for other leaders outside the borders to be able to join us. And you can engage with conversations. They're in different industries, different location areas, different experience levels. And my third invitation is consider joining our world of CoVentures. You can go to CoVentures.World and find out more information by joining, or certainly the opportunity is to again engage. We have an upcoming meeting next Monday. We open it up for guests, and you're certainly welcome to join. I'll put it on the chat box, the details about that. But certainly we've got close to 27 CoVenture partners. We want to expand, and we will continue doing that. The journey to that is to be able to have groups of CoVentures. We've got 4 in the making right now with decision makers, with mastermind groups, and of course, multiple points of projects, contexts, and locations. And the opportunity is to be a CoVenture. You could do that freely. The requirements is that you're doing business to business or business to government, that you have some sort of product or service that you offer, and are willing to do a revenue share. And I think that fits for a partner and what we call a chair that starts their own group. With a partner, they have the opportunity to have a weekly mastermind sessions, promoting from a marketing standpoint and a financial funding standpoint, and also being able to have recordings and on-site, and we meet on a weekly basis. For the chair, it's an opportunity to start your own group that meets in a very similar way with other CoVentures, and we could do certainly a revenue share and a fee share. So that's my invitation, that to be able to connect with us at Peers on Demand and with CoVentures.World. We're looking for CoVentures with partners. I want to thank you for joining today. Join us in a month or sooner, depending on your interests, and we can go from there. Have a good day.